All right, sweet. We're live. What's up, Lucas? Thank you for joining me so much. Thank you to our sponsors at Famra. Check us out on Famra. It is a free app in the iTunes store or the Apple App Store, I guess I should say. But it's free. If you do need a code to get in, use the code AmethystGoat, and you should be all set. And it's a fun app. You can see us. We're chilling in a teacup in the Famra. Pretty fun. Nice and toasty there. I like it. And then, if you're watching YouTube, thank you for joining us. We're going to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home and Hawkeye, the last penultimate episode, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
cool.
move right there.
Pretty cool, man. What do you want to start on? Do you want to start on Hawkeye or Spider-Man's?
I think just because it's we've been talking about it for so long already, I think starting with Spider-Man makes the most sense. So for people watching, if you haven't seen No Way Home yet, don't pay attention to this.
Yeah, right. Or pause this segment and then until we come back for Hawkeye. So
yeah, exactly.
God, I guess give me your overall thoughts on the movie, on I guess maybe your expectations as opposed to what you actually saw, and maybe anything you called out or didn't see or was blindsided by. What do you think?
Yeah, I think. I mean, it was great because I think a lot of the expectations I had, oh, could this happen? Will this happen? Blah, blah, blah. Like, what am I going to be stoked for? I think really the movie came through on a lot of those things, things that we've speculated about, things that we were pretty sure were going to happen, but, it was not completely confirmed. And I mean, it's just, I mean, to me, coming out of it, I was really like, I think that's easily the best live action Spider-Man movie there's been.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was some emotional parts to it. There was definitely some fun comedy. I saw it at the drive-in movie, to avoid like being close to people, with Omicron and the holidays coming up and everything like that. So yeah, I ended up seeing it by myself, and I would say the one thing that would have been really nice about seeing it in theaters is there are so many moments where I was like by myself in my car, just like something would happen, and I was like, oh, and like I did kind of want to experience that with other people, like that just like shared like the crowd losing their shit. But yeah, it was.
Did you have anybody like honking their horns instead of clapping?
No, that would have been great. Maybe I should have done that.
Starting a new trend, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, really, I loved it. I thought it was great. It met all my expectations, and I think it exceeded them in some ways. And it's I would definitely, if it were streaming, I guess I won't go back and see it again in the theaters probably, but like the soonest it starts streaming, I'll probably watch it again because I feel like there's so many Easter eggs to catch.
Yeah.
And so much more to dive into that I wouldn't have noticed or not noticed as much the first time around.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I agree with all the points you said, man. I did not expect a lot of things. And I think, yeah, you're right. A lot of it we did call too at the same time. My theater was very clappy. I think every little thing, everyone's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, fine, whatever. I'm okay with it either way. But I know one friend of mine in particular gets really irritated by that, which is always funny hearing his experiences in theaters. Yeah, I almost want to talk about the post-credit scene first, or the first one with Venom in it. But I guess maybe we'll hold off on that. But God, where to begin the movie? I guess we called the suit we saw in the trailer the Inside Out suit, how it was like black and saw the wiring. I think a lot of us were like, "That's the suit's inside out," and it was because it was covered in paint by like a protester. I love the Mysterio fandom. I forget what they were saying. They're saying what Mysterio rules or Mysterio is right, or I forget what they were saying for him.
Yeah. I think it was Mysterio was right. Let me turn on my sound on Famra too, just so people on Famra can hear. Yeah. Mysterio was right. Yeah, that's what they were doing, which I think is what it was. Unless am I confusing that with Thanos was right from Hawkeye?
That's what I was confusing it with. Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna post in our creators events in the Slack for Famra, so people know we're streaming, where they can find us.
Yeah.
Real quick, sorry. Yeah, why don't you tell me about I guess something you're blindsided by real quick while I do this.
I mean, I wouldn't want, I wouldn't say blindsided because we were all, kind of expecting it. But I think all of the appearances
Mhm.
of people that we were anticipating to be in the movie were still just like, when it happened, it was still like, oh, so I mean, I think the first time I audibly screamed was when they showed Matt Murdock. Um
Oh yeah.
that had been a long rumor, and it was exactly what people were speculating, that he would be Peter Parker's lawyer. But still, just seeing him, very early on in the film, was very fun. And what is coming off just a couple days after Kevin Feige was like, he will be Daredevil whenever the time allows, or whatever.
Yeah.
So
How amazing was that timing with the Hawkeye show where they show Kingpin at the end of the credits on the phone, and this
yeah,
one they have Daredevil. Incredible.
yeah. No, seriously. Couldn't really have planned that better. And I'm sure they didn't even plan it that way, because like all the timelines went out longer because of COVID.
Right.
So I'm sure in the original timeline, this would have been, Spider-Man and Hawkeye would not have been coinciding nearly as much.
Yeah. It makes me wonder. I really feel like they added those in more recently after all the COVID stuff. I mean, we're still in it, but still, like after the delays. Because we know Hawkeye was supposed to come out in last summer, I believe, and then Spider-Man 2 is supposed to be like, everything got pushed back like a year. But I really feel like they added in the Kingpin scene to the Disney Plus show, because they're like, what we want it to be in our app and our Disney MCU sphere that we premiered. Kingpin and Daredevil are technically in the MCU and not in a technical Sony movie. And they want that little bragging rights. I think to say, come to Disney Plus where you'll see stuff. You would have known that's what would have happened if you would have had Disney Plus. I think that's their little scheme, and I think they put it in just at the end. And I was really surprised to see Vincent D'Onofrio's name credits in the end. For a second, when we saw him, I was really scared that it was just going to be a new Kingpin, and we're going to be very disappointed the next episode when we actually see him. And thankfully, when I saw his name, I was like, "Yes, okay, it is done. It is confirmed." I felt so much better. And then in No Way Home, I wasn't really expecting. It was speculated, but I just like to keep my expectations low, and I didn't want to be disappointed to see Matt Murdock, and he just sat down and in frame, and I was like, oh my god, yes. Right when I went to my wife, I'm like, Daredevil, and everyone's like, yeah, and like clapping. Oh, so sick. Yeah, super excited. And then how about like that part where he catches the brick, bursts into the window, just like
Oh,
one-handed.
yes. No, I mean, that was great. And the fun part is that Peter doesn't even know that he's Daredevil. So he's like, oh, how'd you do that? Oh, I'm a really good lawyer.
Like,
Which was great. Yeah, I was kind of hoping that lead up, showing that he has, superpowers, or is, super abled. I was hoping that could somehow mean like Daredevil was going to join in the fray too this
yeah,
film, which is probably asking too much. Like, have Daredevil join too, but it was still, I mean, great to see. Obviously, they're leading up to not just Matt Murdock being in this the MCU, but Daredevil at some points with
yeah,
that. And I mean, it'd be interesting to see is do we get a Daredevil cameo episode 6 of Hawkeye? I mean, we've seen Kingpin now. We see Echo. Daredevil kind of makes sense. We're
yeah.
in his territory, and now we know that's he's canonically part of the MCU.
Right.
So
You brought up two points where it's like, one is like, yeah, I would have loved to see Daredevil in action, but then again, I was really concerned about how are they going to balance all the characters in this movie, because we knew it was front loaded with just tons of heroes and villains, and rumored and speculated, and they all came to be. And I think they did a really good job of like giving everyone their time, and not, I guess. It seems like it would be on paper like, overstimulation. There's way too much going on, way too many threads. It's too convoluted, and it was really simple and easy to follow, I think, for the generic audience. And it was a lot of fun. And then the other thing I was thinking of is also, yes, that's cool. We have, Daredevil and Kingpin, but are they like the Netflix version? Or are they a different multiverse version of themselves? Are they going to just start clean slate in the MCU, and none of that stuff is canonical, and the Netflix is just a different multiverse version of themselves? So like, what are we going to get, in the MCU? That'll be interesting seeing what comes to be. I'm very curious of what they're going to do with that. I would love for the Netflix stuff to be canonical, but I just think that's kind of too much baggage. Maybe, I don't know. Not sure.
Yeah, I get that. No, that's an interesting point. And I mean, I would like for it to be as well, and maybe they'll pick and choose.
Yeah.
Maybe some of it will be, some of it won't be. It is interesting, they have so many stories that they can tell, and the MCU does kind of rewrite the comic stories. So I mean, is it also going to rewrite the Netflix stories that have already happened? Yeah, that'll be interesting, especially I think as we get into like the Echo series. Like, I mean, like, is that going to build off of things that have already happened in Daredevil,
Yeah.
or like clean slate, all they have is the same characters?
That last episode of Hawkeye, when she was riding off her motorcycle, I was like, oh, she's like, I told my wife, I'm like, well, see you guys. I'm off to my own show. I'll see you guys at,
yeah,
over there later on.
See you next year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in a few months, yeah, it's I don't know. My wife laughed at that, and she was like, yeah, like maybe we'll see her next episode, but like I feel like they could just totally be like, yeah, you'll find her over there. But I do feel like they need to wrap up that whole entire thing with Ronan, Clint, and her, even though they had their big fights, at the end, and he bested her and told her he wasn't very clear. We still don't know if it was like him that killed her father. It could have been her best friend, who she now suspects, who was conveniently not there at the time of her father's death. So he could have been in the Ronin suit, or made a Ronin suit replica or something. I don't know.
Right.
We'll find out.
It seems like Kingpin is the one that tipped them off to kill his second hand or whatever, Maya's dad. So is there going to be some kind of showdown with Kingpin, and Echo, sort of like they both want to kill Hawkeye, but suddenly Echo's like, no, Kingpin's the bad guy. I mean,
I think that's what her show is going to be about. Is
redemption
her going
arc
after Kingpin
kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely, absolutely, and maybe we'll see Kingpin maybe get arrested at the end.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, because there's a lot to still wrap up, I think, in that last episode, because I mean, it's Kingpin and Echo, but it's Yelena still is trying to kill Hawkeye. So I mean, all of these things. I mean, what happened with Jack going to jail? Are we just done with Jack now because Kate's mom called the cops on him?
Right. Is he in on it, or was this just her plan to get him, take the blame for things that she did? Is he like a himbo? Is he a himbo? I don't know. He seems pretty cool. He could be a himbo.
Now, I mean, I kind of feel like now that somehow Kate's mom set him up to be just like the patsy,
right?
And his character, I mean, Swordsman is complicated. He has good and bad backstory, kind of. So it's like, which version of him are we seeing? Like, are they like playing it up like, oh, clearly he's the bad guy, and it's actually like, nope, he's not. He's just misunderstood. Because
what was your first impression when you saw him getting arrested as soon as she walked into the apartment? For me, I felt like it was like a setup and waiting for her to come in to do that with these paid off cops or something.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even thought about like just to make it look like that. I wasn't sure. It seemed, I mean, that part, it seemed like it just kind of happened too fast, and then her mom was like, oh, I looked into it and I called the cops on him for Sloan. And it's just like, I don't know. I feel like if you are engaged to be married, you have a conversation with your partner before you go to the police.
Yeah, about what they do for work.
Yeah. Hey, what's up with the Sloan thing? Just checking. Like, not just like, I'm just going to call the police. I have no real evidence. All I know is that he works for this shell company that also employs this guy.
Yeah. How amazing was that scene there with Yelena and Kate Bishop, Hawkeye? She's in her apartment and she's all about the mac and cheese and hitting it with the sriracha.
Yes.
That was a really fun conversation. And someone brought up on social media, I forget where, it could have been on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, but like I just remember seeing, they're like, "Will Yelena keep the accent for how long?" We saw with Scarlet Witch, she dropped it after a movie or two and just spoke English with, and I guess the actress, I think she's from England. She's like English, so it's kind of funny having her do this like big, thick, fake Russian accent. How long is she going to stick the character to this accent? Be devoted to this every time we see her, or will she eventually give it up? I think it's pretty charming. So I hope she keeps it up for as long as she can. But I understand if they just like, just talk, American English.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it would make sense for her to keep it, but I mean, like Wanda lost her accent.
Yeah.
I mean, Natasha never even had one.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? So I think they typically, at least in the MCU, have a history of people not having, or losing their accents, women losing their accents.
Right.
The men for some reason keep them, but
yeah,
but also the majority of men with accents in the MCU are villains. So, you gotta let the villains keep their accents. That's how you know they're bad.
Yeah, that's how you know they're bad, is keep the accent. But once again, that conversation they had, it was pretty good. I mean, it was really good. I love just scenes where characters talk to each other and unpack. But like, Kate Bishop brought up, if anyone's after Clint, maybe you should question your employer, and I think maybe Yelena thought about it for a second and was like, no, I'm still stuck in my ways, and I'm still going to hunt Clint down. And then eventually the next day, she sent her a text and said, my hire was your mom. So, which confused me for a second. I was like, I thought it was Elaine from Seinfeld, but okay. So it's like, makes you wonder. It's like, Elaine from Seinfeld told her, that Hawkeye was responsible for her sister's death, but then she waited to do nothing. She waited until she got hired to kill him, to actually go after him. Like, what? Why? I don't know. And then people were like, oh, maybe she's just like, the mom was just a middleman. She's like the, hiring. I guess Elaine was there to tell her, this person wants to hire you for this job, maybe, is what she was saying now in retroactive continuity. But which I guess kind of works, but I thought it was kind of sloppy, with that reveal. It's like, oh, your mom's responsible and she hired me. When we had that whole entire I forgot the character. I kept saying Elaine from Seinfeld, but I forgot what her name's is, like something Victoria.
I do too. It evades me.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Let's find out.
How'd you feel about that reveal? And after seeing both situations, both scenes from the end of Black Widow and this reveal that it was Kate Bishop's mom.
Yeah. So first off, Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character is Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Yes. Wow. Valentina.
Such a name, right?
Yeah, such a name.
Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. But yeah. Otherwise, I think, I mean, mostly was cool because like they showed the Kingpin, so like, I mean, that was like the biggest thing. But mostly I was like, oh, well, where's this going? Because now it's sort of like, I think we discussed this already. There was something kind of just fishy about Kate's mom. Her dad died, but she was fine. There was that argument at the beginning. Also, she's like super rich. So already a red flag. All these things that kind of point to her maybe not being so great. And then then we see that. But like, where's that going? There's they're all, everything kind of got tied together that way. Okay, yeah, Elena got hired from her. Okay. But like, what's she doing with the Kingpin? What's up with Swordsman? Like, there's like so much that needs to be wrapped up in this next episode. And it'll be interesting to see how they do that. I'm assuming it'll be a longer episode, like closer to an hour rather than like a half-hour one, because
that'd be nice.
It's like a lot of shit that has to happen. I don't know how you put a nice, neat little bow on this. I would think, it doesn't happen in one scene. Even whatever the climax is can only wrap up like some of that. You know what I mean?
And you don't want it to feel rushed and be like, okay, it's over now. I guess I think we all know how it's going to end. Is like Clint's going to make it home just in time. On Christmas, right at the end. And I think he's going to bring Kate Bishop with him because she's not going to have a family anymore. Maybe her mom's going to be in jail, or whatever. And the fiance too. Maybe they could both be arrested. And maybe I think it's going to show Echo off to see Kingpin, and start her hunts and her show. Maybe she'll, either kill her friend or have him arrested. He could be the one that was wearing the Ronin suit, I'm assuming. Hopefully, I'm assuming also Echo and Hawkeye make peace, and they say goodbyes to each other. And I think that's about it. Also, we need the other Black Widow wrap up as well. So hopefully that'll be a peace thing as well between Hawkeye and the new Black Widow, Yelena, I think her name is. Yeah. But so I guess those all need to be done. So that is a lot of little little tells to pin on the donkey. But I guess
lots to wrap up.
Lots to wrap up. I guess we jumped a lot from Spider-Man to Hawkeye and back and forth because those appearances of Matt Murdock and Kingpin were so important to me. I love the Daredevil show, so I was super stoked to see those, and it brought into the MCU technically. I do want to talk about the end credit scene, the first one, I guess, with Venom, Eddie Brock. How at the end of Venom 2, we saw Eddie Brock teleport into the MCU proper. And he's out of the Sonyverse. He's like, wow, what happened? And then at the end of this one, we see him teleport back to the Sonyverse. Is that what happened? Is that your interpretation of it as well?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Like he came, like the others, into the MCU universe.
He knew who Peter Parker was.
Hunt down Peter Parker, he just like chilled. That entire time.
And he was like, I'm going to go there. I'm on my way to see that guy right now. And then teleport. And because he knew who Peter Parker was. And of course, is to no one to remember Peter Parker. So there he goes back to the Sonyverse.
And I mean, and really what the whole thing took place over like the course, like what, 2 days. So it's just like, he got there. He's like, what the fuck? Where am I? I'm going to hit the bar. And then, that's, I guess, all he did.
That was incredible. Yeah. I want to say like that took place like, because he woke up the next day, I guess, when he transformed from the Sonyverse to the MCU, and he was in some other guy's place. It was daytime, I believe. Like, it looked like a sunrise. So he had a whole entire like 24 hours because it was nighttime, at the time of the bar. And it could have been 2 days or 3 days, who knows, but I like to think it's the same day. And he was just wearing his same, little lei and Hawaiian shirt, and trying to just bearing straight of what happened and where he's at. And it took him all day. And then finally he's going to go and see Spider-Man, see Peter Parker, go to New York. And then that happens. That's pretty incredible. For me, I was like, I'm not a fan of the Venom movies myself, but I love that, at the end of Carnage, There Will Be Carnage, that movie. I was like, okay, well, it's expected it's going to be in the MCU because the two Venom movies made a lot of money. So understand it. Even though I don't like them, they're not for me. Other people like them a lot, apparently. And so he's earned it. And so there he is. And then I was like, okay, yeah, that's right. How's he going to fit in this? Oh wow, he went back to the Sonyverse. Fantastic. Yes.
Yeah.
He's out of here. I was so happy at that. Oh, it was incredible. I did not expect that. I thought he's going to be stuck there forever. Um, and then I guess apparently we have a Morbius coming up. There's a lot of confusion of what universe that takes place in, and that's in January. So that's just I want to say 2 or 3 weeks away. That's real soon.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And I mean, Michael Keaton
yeah.
is there. So it's at least partially in the MCU, I guess.
Right, but then we saw that poster that says "murderer" across Spider-Man on the wall that Jared Leto walks past, and it's like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, I believe. So it's like,
Yeah.
and then there's I think it's a different Osborn building as well, an Oscorp building, and then there's another building that's there that's supposed to be, I think, in the Tobey Maguire universe. People are like, "What is this?"
Yeah, yeah.
did they even know what they were making at the time? They're like, yeah, just put everything in it. It took place during Spider-Man. Apparently, he's over there and that, and so you have all this. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm assuming.
That's because it's a combination of all three of them. Actually,
Yeah.
it takes place in Miles Morales's universe.
Which you bring up another point with Miles Morales. I'm super stoked for the Into the Spider-Verse sequel. Or I guess what there's 2 movies coming out. Maybe it could be 3 if they
Yeah,
push it
yeah,
hard
yeah.
enough. It says part 1. That's all we know. But we know Spider-Man 2099 is in there, which I love. I love Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099. That's one of my favorite costumes, and I play that constantly in the Spider-Man PS4 game. And I guess in that trailer, that little sneak peek we saw, you see Spider-Man 2099 grabbing Miles Morales and going through a different multiverse or whatever. And he's one of the lands he's in is Spider-Man India. And I don't know if you ever read Spider-Man India, but I
No.
like that character when I was a little kid. So I'm kind of excited to see that character pop up. And I'm trying to think who else they're going to bring in. I forgot who else there was rumors of, but that's exciting. I'm excited to see Spider-Man India and 2099. They're good, like young Jason throwbacks of nostalgia to his pure childhood.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, stoked for that stuff. But yeah, I guess back to No Way Home. Gosh, I feel like the MCU has so many threads to cover. Right now there's so much going on. I guess the second post-credit scene was the Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness little sneak peek. I guess I should say it wasn't really a trailer. It kind of was.
Yeah, yeah. It was closer to a trailer than it was like a post-credit scene.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, a little weird.
For sure. Yes. I did not expect it to see that at all. I was hoping whenever you see a post-credit scene, it's supposed to be like a half-assed scene that was cut from the film or something that was put in there, or a gag reel or who knows what, and they went all out with a sneak peek. And for me, I was honestly disappointed. I think that I was looking forward to seeing Multiverse of Madness more than Spider-Man, and other MCU things, because I just having the multiverse in your name in the title is like there should be so much happening. There's so much potential, but instead in the trailer we saw an evil Doctor Strange, possibly the What If Doctor Strange,
right?
And I'm like, okay, so you're just gonna have like the Black Panther against Black Panther, the same power set against the same power set. How many times have we seen that in the MCU? And it's like, okay, so now we're gonna have Doctor Strange versus an evil Doctor Strange. Fine. I didn't expect to see that, which I guess is kind of cool, but it's because I thought they were like better than that. I thought the MCU was done with doing that. The same power set against the same power set. A doppelganger against the same person. So I'm afraid that that movie's just going to be about defeating this evil Doctor Strange, when we could have, and we still might. They could just not be shown in the trailer or anything, or it's just a sneak peek. But there is potential. It's like, yeah, maybe we'll find out what happens to Wanda's kids. To have her actually want to go along into this multiverse adventure. Maybe we'll see other characters from the MCU pop up what we thought were gone before. So I don't know. I guess there is potential, and maybe they don't want to put all their cards on the table right away, which is understandable. But yeah, just seeing the evil Doctor Strange, I was like, oh, that's what the movie's going to be about.
Well, I think, only part of it, because also Shuma Garath is going to be in it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I mean, that's
cool.
a villain right there. So I mean, who knows how much we see of the evil Doctor Strange? Like, yeah, I mean, Marvel does a lot of faking out too. So I think it's definitely, anyone that's watched What If is like, okay, yep, I know where this is going.
That'd be
But
cool if
like,
that was the What If guy.
yeah. It kind of, I mean, it seems like it's like the What If Doctor Strange,
Doesn't it?
that battle he has against himself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see, like, is that a big part? Is it a small part? Wanda's obviously playing a pretty large part in that. So maybe I would think, because of that, if Wanda's, is teaming up with him and really helping, I'm hoping that it's not just Strange versus Strange is the main thing, maybe just a footnote, something that, that sparks off the whole multiverse. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I didn't feel super pumped watching that at the end. It was fine. Like, I mean, obviously, like, I'm gonna go see it like the day it comes out, and I am excited for it. But there's nothing really in that teaser trailer that made me be like, oh shit, yeah, this is gonna rock. Like, I think, I mean, the part that I probably liked the best was just him, like, going to Wanda and being like, hey, like, I need your help. What do you know about this shit? And she's like, yeah, you just told me. That's all I know. Because I mean,
I love seeing that Wanda costume, the new one.
Yeah,
like, she has like little horns on the crown. Oh,
yeah. So I'm excited to see more Wanda. And that's, I think that's what I was most excited about seeing that. But I don't know. Like, I mean, it's supposed to have like those horror elements, which we haven't really seen in the MCU yet. I mean, at the very least, I would think kind of more like a thriller kind of feel. So yeah, I it'll just be interesting to see where they go, because I feel like there's such like little known about it still, but now there's so much to tie in. Like, I mean, we have what's happened in No Way Home, potentially a tie-in with What If. I mean, and it makes sense now, because there's possibly Shuma Garath in What If. There was a giant tentacle monster. There's the evil Strange, or the dark Strange, I guess. He wasn't necessarily evil. He was just
he went to
not misunderstood, but just misguided, I guess. So potentially, potentially, he, that ties in. But then, we have like the multiverse stuff from Loki, like, that might tie in. We have the events of WandaVision that are going to tie in, at least, like, they mentioned that briefly in that. So I think there's so little that we actually know about it yet, and there's so much that they could tie in and build upon. And I feel like the MCU is really good at building and building and building, and everything ties together, which, maybe is rough if you haven't seen anything, because it's like, fuck, I have to watch 30 other movies to get this reference. But potentially we are to get that.
Yeah, and I think we know at the end of the Hawkeye, we also will get the new costumes, and they said Clint Barton's not going anywhere. We're going to see Clint Barton and stuff in the future, and so maybe we'll see him be kind of like a co-head of the Avengers, like like West Coast Avengers. He was like the team captain of that, and had the young students under his arm and training. So I think we'll see that later on in the future too. And I'm trying to think what they're going to build to. I mean, I think we all assume Young Avengers. Or New Avengers or whatever, maybe a Secret Wars would be cool. I'm really curious about Secret Invasion, and that's coming up soon. And I'm trying to think of, potential scrolls and everything we've seen, including all these new movies coming out, all this new media. And we know there's scrolls somewhere. There's going to be probably a big part in Secret Invasion. That's the whole point of it. So, have we seen a scroll yet already and not know it? That's what I've been trying to keep in mind as I'm.
I would say probably so.
I think so. Yeah.
And nice callback to that too in No Way Home, where they're like, Nick Fury's been off world for the last year.
Yeah, he's like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
there were scrolls in that movie. Yeah, at the
yep.
end credits, yeah, you
Yep.
saw there were scrolls covering for Nick Fury while he's on vacation, trying to do the
Yes.
best they can to keep everything settled, and out of trouble, doing his job for him while he's on vacation, which was so funny.
Yeah.
So, and hopefully, I think in Secret Invasion we'll see the kind of the more cultist scrolls, the more devouts, that were about the legend and whatever prophecies and weirdo fanatics of that species. So, because it seems like scrolls are good guys in the MCU so far that we've seen, but there's got to be like a secret sect that are more insane and crazy. So for Secret Invasion to take place, that's what it's based on. Unless all those good guys do a 180, that'd be really a bummer. That'd be a big bummer. They seemed pretty innocent and good guys and trying to make their way. But I guess the motives could fit too as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I would hope they wouldn't do that because, yeah, I mean, they did make the scrolls, at least that group of scrolls, seem, not like bad guys. Maybe not necessarily good guys, but just like, a group of people that wanted to live and be
Yeah,
left
the
alone.
refugees.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, and then the little post credit scene for Far From Home then kind of makes them seem like good guys since they're like working with Nick Fury or whatever.
Right.
They're at least on his side now. But yeah, for sure. For this thing for the Secret Invasion, I mean, it's somebody's got to be evil or want to destroy the Earth. And it'll be interesting to see what comes from that. I mean, like, what Secret Invasion was, that big tie off into in the comics, the new Thunderbolts led by Norman Osborn. And so we do have what seems like the Thunderbolts being built up by Contessa Valentina.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see that and what that leads off to, because it just seems like there's so many, everything is created to spin off into something else.
Yes. That's what I think we're going to get. The Young Avengers, and their whole entire mission is going to be to defeat the Thunderbolts. So it's going to be Thunderbolts versus the Young Avengers, and that's the whole entire movie's about. Is like Civil War, it's just that the two different parties fighting each other. And when will we see that? I don't know. I think they still have so many movies they have planned that they announced. So I mean, they have Fantastic Four. They still have to do. They still have Blade to do. And will that take place before those? I don't think so. I think they're going to do all these solo movies before they plan out like a Young Avengers versus Thunderbolts movie. So we got a ways away, to go before we see any progress of where any of this matters or what it means. I mean, will they make Eternals too? They still got to deal with a whole entire big ass, robot in the middle of the ocean sticking out. That's now a statue. Like, doesn't that affect waves? And I don't know. I feel like it would affect a lot of things and disturb, nature. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, that's something that needs to be addressed at some points.
There's also a big giant arrow in the middle of a bridge because of Hawkeye. So I don't know.
Right.
That just ruined the whole entire city's bridge and infrastructure because he pulled that one move for no reason when he could have shot the truck maybe, and that would have expanded and drove off the edge. I don't know. There's so many other options. I feel like.
Yeah.
Shoot a tire and expand the tire, and the tire would blow up instead. I don't know. There's plenty of other options, I think, than a giant arrow blocking and destroying a whole entire bridge in New York City. Like,
yeah. Just, oh man, that's gonna kill a lot of people's commutes.
Yeah, and the city's infrastructure for a while.
Yeah. Dude, right before Christmas, come on.
Yeah, bad timing. Thanks, Clint. Greatest Avenger ever. I was also excited to see the Rogers poster, the Broadway play in the Spider-Man movie.
I did not even notice that.
Yeah, so funny. Yeah, so I like to think they happen around the same time, which is fantastic. Although Broadway does run for a good bit of time, and Hawkeye is supposed to be a year or two in the future from us. So I'm not sure when Spider-Man, No Way Home takes place, but I feel like it's got to be around the same time as Hawkeye, maybe a little before.
Yeah. I'm thinking that it takes place pretty close to Hawkeye, like, because the very beginning of No Way Home is like pretty much right after Far From Home, but then like they show that like time like there's like the whole like their summer goes, they start a new year of school. So I'm taking it like, and then they're getting like these acceptance letters into college too. So like that's a pretty good chunk of a year. Like I mean, what your school year normally starts in like August ish,
Yeah.
and acceptance letters usually come after like the new year, like February, March. So like I mean, potentially, is that now after Hawkeye? Like, if they went to school like in September, Hawkeye happened in December because of Christmas. Did they get accepted? No, because there's the whole new statue. Well, they mentioned the Statue of Liberty with Yelena too.
Yep.
When she said she wants to see a new Statue of Liberty, is it the one they broke in Spider-Man, or is it the shield that they're adding? That we see at the beginning
Yeah.
of Spider-Man. So there's
Right.
I am interested to see where it goes, because that I mean months, there were months that happened within that movie. And assuming the school year is starting like right after, like if it's like Far From Home, school year, acceptance letter, it could be then that it's like 9 months before Hawkeye. But it could be that it's like 3 months after. Once where No Way Home ends. So
Right.
So it's interesting to see, to think about which side of things that's on.
Yeah, the whole entire Statue of Liberty thing kind of threw me for a loop, because it makes you wonder because it seems like Elena said it was completed and it was done.
Yeah.
But then we see in Spider-Man they're still constructing it and putting the shield on, but then of course they knocked the shield down to the floor, maybe the water possibly.
Yeah.
And it was I guess it was still built though. It was fine. The statue looked fine. It was all copper, like its original I guess way it was.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder when it takes place. As far as I thought before was, I thought Hawkeye was the furthest we'd see in the MCU, and I guess they both kind of work in that way. So, not sure.
Yeah. I'm not too sure either. I mean they're both far out in comparison to everything else.
Yeah. So I guess what we have next is what Morbius. That's in January, like the first or second week of January. And that'll be interesting seeing what's happening there. I'm definitely going. I wasn't going to go before, but I definitely am trying to stay in tune with all this MCU stuff. And you might as well see it when it comes out because then you'll have a big back catalog in a few months. So it's good to see it. When it comes out. Yeah, so I guess we'll figure out what time it is with Morbius. I feel like they're going to make it its own thing, not really connected to anything. Yes, we have Vulture, but it's like we're not sure what universe it's in technically because there's so much stuff going on in that movie. So, and that one I wasn't even sure was going to come out because it got postponed for so long. So it's like what are they doing with that movie? And then I'm trying to think what comes out after Morbius. I mean, I know we do have Multiverse of Madness, but that's not until like what, May, I think. So
yeah. I think May.
Do we know when Ms. Marvel or Moon Knight come out? Because I feel like those are the next shows, or is Secret Invasion the next show?
I don't know if we have release dates for the upcoming shows now.
Okay.
I was just thinking about that earlier today. Yeah, I mean, so Moon Knight is just 2022 sometime. Miss Marvel's just 2022 sometime.
Damn.
So yeah, She-Hulk.
She-Hulk.
So like the movies have dates, but the TV shows are like TBD.
Wow, how about that?
So yeah, Hawkeye ends, and then we don't really have a date for the next show. Whereas
wow, that's
all
surprising.
The other shows, it's been like one right after the other.
Yeah, God, that's surprising. I really feel like they would have announced what's coming next. Maybe they will at the end of Hawkeye.
Maybe they will at the end of Hawkeye.
Yeah, if there is a post credits, maybe Echo's next.
Yeah, or maybe they're holding off because the Book of Boba Fett is coming out in December.
Yeah,
so they're like, they're like, hey, it's not a Marvel thing, but like, there's a lot of crossover between the people that are watching these shows.
No doubt. Yeah.
So, so it could be like, hey, we're gonna hold off on the Marvel, drop the new Star Wars show, then we'll put a Marvel show in after.
Yeah. That makes sense. Absolutely. So I expect to see a show maybe in late January, early February.
Yeah, yeah, I
Hopefully.
would think so.
Yeah. It seems like they've been pretty steady, so I feel like they don't want to like stop that streak of happening.
Right, right. And if the next thing is Multiverse of Madness, that's May 6th, is it
It's a bit
supposed to come
away.
out? Yeah, so I think they'd really want something in between.
God, I wonder what's going to be next. God, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be Miss Marvel, and I mean maybe Echo because what happens in this show is so directly connected. I would prefer an Echo show next. I think just to get that over with. But I can see if they want to postpone that to get all the Kingpin Daredevil details in. It just seems like they're a new like acquisition at this point because it's so new to us. So who knows how what they have planned, but.
Right,
Uh,
right.
I guess my other guess would be Ms. Marvel because we have the Marvels movie coming up later on, which I'm not sure if that is that this year or next year either. I'm not sure when that comes out, but they have to set that up with enough time to before the movie. So,
Right.
um, gosh, I guess and I feel like She-Hulk was like the first of those that were announced before Moon Knight,
Right, right. I think
before Ms.
She-Hulk
Marvel.
was, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like
Um,
that might be up there with coming up next.
and I know they've already done some production on that.
Mm.
So that could very well be. Yeah, the Marvels isn't until February 2023.
Ah, okay. So they have a
So
while to go with that. So we could
yeah,
very well see Ms. Marvel like in the summer after Doctor Strange, or like even the winter. So
yeah,
that has time. That has time. Okay, so that's good to have Ms. Marvel show in a time slot in my mind further down the road. So yeah,
right,
so it's gonna
right.
be like it's gonna be a She Hulk or a Moon Knight or Echo, one of those three. Then interesting. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of all the pins they're trying to set up or dominoes before they knock them all down, in what order.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely gonna be. Yeah, I'm interested to see what's next. I mean, just so I can have a show to be excited for.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Yeah,
but
TJ
so,
brings
so
out they need to put
yeah,
a Marvel
hopefully,
alien race in a background shot in Star Wars, make it official MCU universe. I would love to see that, but I feel like the combining of Star Wars and Marvel MCU is like their last minute break glass situation.
yeah,
When like when they think Star Wars isn't making any money, when they think Marvel's not making any money, we're gonna have a big crossover, and then
yeah,
you
yeah.
break the glass
Huge
and you make it happen.
crossover.
Yeah, bring everyone back in who you think might make money off of, and that's going to be the last resort we see, I think.
Yeah, yeah. That's. I mean, I think we have a while for that.
Mhm.
I don't think either of these are going to lose popularity anytime soon,
Yeah,
and they're
we
for sure
might see that
milking
in our
them for
lifetime.
quite
I,
some
I
money.
I'd like to see that in our lifetime, before we're dead, but I don't think we will. I don't know.
I mean, even if they were to just do like
A
a
comic
what
series,
if
that'd be
kind of thing,
fantastic. Yes.
like why not have a Star Wars / Marvel what if? Like, hey, none of this is canon. We're only having it be cartoon, but it's just they can do it. They own the
There's just
rights to all of it. All of it.
there-
If they want to
there's
fuck around, we'll find out.
yeah. There's this one cosplayer I saw that just posted pictures, but I wanted to post it in our chat. I forgot about it. It was like it's buried now. I got to find it, but it's like a Boba Fett, uniform, but it's Iron Man as well at the same time. So it's like Iron Man colors instead of Boba Fett's colors, and I think he has an arc reactor. So it's like a mixture of like those two, like in one, which is really neat. And seeing that, it was really cool. He still had the jetpack. He looked like Boba Fett, but it was like Iron Man. I thought it was like a lot of fun. So that was fun seeing that mixture of those two characters, and that's pretty creative. I like to see more of that stuff, but uh, as far as like the official canon, I don't know if I'd be in a hurry to see that, but I would like to see that sometime before I die.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. It's like Disney's got the money, they've got the properties, make it happen.
Yeah. What Star Wars show do you think we get next? Was it Obi-Wan is up after
I
the Boba Fett one?
I don't know if it's going to be Obi-Wan after or if they're going to do Mandalorian
Oh,
because Mandalorian season 3 is also coming.
okay.
Um, but yeah,
So I'm
I
just feel like
know.
we're gonna get Obi-Wan first. I feel like I've seen a lot more hype about that before any Mandalorian news.
Yeah, well, I feel like
They
there's not been much about Book of Boba Fett either,
yeah,
and that's like coming out like, in a,
real soon.
like Yeah, like a week or something.
Wow. Yeah, that's real soon. Sooner than I thought.
Yeah. Let's see. What's the release date? The 29th. So 10 days.
Holy crap.
So it's a week after Hawkeye. So yeah, it's totally taking Hawkeye's spot. As
Yes, yes.
yeah, it'll be the new Wednesday night show.
Yeah,
Um,
good, good. I need something. That's fantastic. Does it say how many episodes?
that let's see.
Because I was surprised at how short Hawkeye was. Only what, 6 episodes.
Yeah, super short. Let's see, Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, I don't know how many episodes it's going to be yet.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. Looks like 7.
7 episodes. Okay, so interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that goes through to February 9th.
looks like TJ says Obi-Wan is done filming and Mandalorian is just starting. So we will definitely get
Okay,
Obi-Wan
so
first.
Obi-Wan first. I mean, I'm excited for that. I'm super down. I
Yeah.
mean, Obi-Wan's one of my favorite Star Wars characters,
Yeah.
and Ewan McGregor does such a great job as that
Mhm.
character.
For sure.
So I'm stoked.
How do you feel about Hayden Christensen, whatever his
Hayden
name is?
Christensen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think it's cool that he'll be reprising the role of Darth
Me
Vader.
too.
Like,
Yeah.
that's that was a character that he was, and it makes sense if they're going to have Ewan McGregor be Obi-Wan, have him be Vader. I don't want to like super hate on the guy or anything like that. Like, I don't think. I mean, he wasn't a terrible Anakin actually. I
I
think
think
it
it's more the
was.
writing, the writing he
Yeah,
was given, the
exactly,
script he was given.
exactly. I think it was more of the writing than anything, and I think they've learned a lot since then.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so
And I
so
think
I
he's
think
learned a
it'll.
lot about himself as a person because he went on a hard crash afterwards. I think he had a lot of trouble with like drugs in prison and stuff too. But I mean, I'm so glad to see him given like a second chance at this role, and I think he knows how important this is to him as his livelihood, and as an actor. And I think he has a good chance to prove himself. Hopefully he has a well written story where it works out for him. I think there's a lot of potential to see us like him as an actor and as a character as Darth Vader.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I hope, I hope he has a good time doing that, and Darth Vader comes out more fully fleshed, than he got to be kind of in the brief moment he was Darth Vader, at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Um, Although, at the same time, it's just like, how much of him are we really going to see? I feel like in terms of the story, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for Darth Vader to spend much time in Obi-Wan's story, because we get more of the impression during A New Hope that they hadn't seen each other at all
Right.
since he became Darth Vader.
Hmm.
So maybe it's just one brief episode we see him return. One scene perhaps even. It'll be
Sure.
interesting to see.
Yeah.
But I think that does open up at least the possibility that for these other shows that are going to be taking place kind of during this time, that he could pop up in other series too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely like the addition of him into the Star Wars universe, and hopefully we'll see more of him. I mean,
Yeah,
are we going to see more of the OG Han Solo? I guess not the OG, but like the younger Han Solo from the Han Solo movie. And I know they want to do a sequel to that a long time ago before it got canceled, and we're going to see more of a Darth Maul, come back. But I'm not sure what their plans are with that now, which is unfortunate because I like the Han Solo movie. Okay, I think that the part I didn't like most about the Han Solo movie was the actor that played Han Solo. All the rest I thought it was pretty good. I really liked seeing Darth Maul again. I thought that was cool.
yeah,
And for me, I feel like he was kind of like a knockoff Chris Pine, or like we got Chris Pine at home, and not quite the original. So that was kind of a little strange for me. I don't know, but I thought it was you know, people. I think it's underrated. You know, I should say. I think people were giving it a hard time for it just being a newer movie, but I thought it was pretty good for the most part.
Yeah.
All right, man, dude. Thanks again for hanging out. We're gonna wrap it up.
Absolutely.
Dude,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
did a
we're
whole
at that
hour.
time.
Yeah, man, whole hour. Dude, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Yes, I run a meme account, Guy Fieri's Post Ironic Meme Vault. You can find it on Facebook under that name or on Instagram at Post Ironic Meme Vault. Also, LOL Caesars at LOL Caesars, Instagram and Facebook. And perhaps Illuminati Co. Perhaps I might be a member of that with
Correct.
some other folks. But
Amazing.
that is it from me. Thank you all for tuning in. And Jason, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on PartyPug666 on Facebook and Instagram, and also Slow Heavy Metal Music Playing on Instagram, and that's a big one on Instagram, and Facebook, which got stolen a long time ago, a year or two ago, but made a resurgence. Not nearly as big as it was, but it's still pretty big considering what Facebook allows nowadays.
Seriously.
Yeah. And then, you know, of course, Comics Mr. Explains on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. So, yeah, thank you all for hanging out. Also, Pooh and Tim's, I got to bring that account back. So, you know, that's POOH as in Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh, you know, Pooh and Tim's. And he's just from New York City. Yeah, he's in New York City doing his thing all the time. So I got to bring that back. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. And thank you, Lucas, so much for joining me and talking about Spider-Man, Hawkeye, the future of the MCU. And hopefully we'll see some of you guys next week at the same time. So
yes.
Peace out, y'all.
See you then. Bye.